Hey, welcome back to the Board Game Closet. My name's Jimmy.
I'm Rod.
And today we're going to take a look at Elysium. This is put out by Space Cowboys, plays 2 to 4 people in 60 minutes. In Elysium, you are a demigod who's hoping to get the attention of the gods. And so you are building a legend by doing stuff, destroying stuff, and making victory points. So let's take a look and see what you get in the box. This is what you get in the box with Elysium. Rod, let's talk about components.
Sure. Well, one of the best components is the box.
Yeah.
Okay, for one thing, you get all the pieces for it, which, by the way, looks like some kind of Greek architecture. So you get all these pieces with it, as you can see, which is a ton. This is a card game mainly, so the cards are always the most important thing. And one thing is the quality, the thickness of the cards, nice and thick. They're kind of that fabric material, so they're going to hold up nicely. And the artwork on them is fantastic. It's just very well done. And then colors, lots of bright colors, so it's very, very nice.
Side note, I was talking to one of the guys at Gen Con about this, and he said there's 8 gods, and they used 8 different artists. And so each god has its own kind of style based off of that artist, and then they actually named the artist on the side of each card. Just thought that was cool.
So everybody gets some columns. So you have columns represented by columns. So that's pretty cool. You have your, what do they call this again? This tree here?
It's
for your characters.
I don't know what it's called. Domain and Elysium, but I don't know what this piece is called.
Sure. So this is to help you keep control of your cards, your money, your wealth, and so on. So, I mean, nice thick cardboard, breaks apart nicely so it fits in the board. Everything in this is quality made. I mean, it's a good game.
So rules for this game. I had the privilege of learning this at Gen Con. So when we went back and I had to teach this, I was thumbing through the rules, and then you know how that goes when somebody teaches you the game, they answer all the questions for you, and you don't have to use the rule book. But then when I went back through this, I felt like it actually was pretty good, as in the order and how things worked. A lot of my questions are a lot of diagrams. And they even give you a guide to the cards, which was kind of cool. So this is a whole for all 8 decks, however many cards that is. They have an explanation for each one. The only problem was there were a couple cards we went to the card guide to look for the answer. We read it and then we're like, still don't know. So I don't know, like that was kind of a bummer that there were still some cards and we had to Google some stuff. But you know, all in all, I was able to use the rule book after I was taught and walk through almost every one of my questions. So to be honest with you, I can't really tell you how good or bad this is going to teach you the game. But once you learn how to play, it's really easy. It's not that complicated. I taught my wife the game and I kind of warned her. I was like, this one might be a little tougher. And then after we played around, she was like, that's it. She was like offended. I thought that this would be hard for her to learn. So it's not going to be that difficult to learn. So how do you play Elysium? Elysium is like this cool give and take with these pillars. So these pillars are the crux of the game, right? So everybody has 4 of these. And the basic premise that you need to understand is that each card that you're going to buy has a requirement to buy it. They require that you have, meaning you have not used it yet, certain colors of columns. And so at the top of the cards, each one of the cards, it's going to tell you what color does it require. So like this one requires that I have a yellow column in my stash that I haven't used it yet, but I don't have to pay for this card with this yellow. So let's say I wanted to buy this card, even though it requires that I have a yellow, I could just pay for it with the green. Every card that you ever purchase, the turn order cards, all only require 1 column. Some of the columns, or some of these cards require that you have 2 things, but you're still only going to pay 1 of those. So basically it's saying you have to pay for this card with a green column or you need to have, a green column and any other column in your stash, but I don't have to pay for this card. I could choose to pay for this with the red. But the flip of that is if I already bought this card with the green, I can no longer buy this card because I don't have the requirements to it. At the beginning of the round, based off of the number of players, you're going to put out a certain number of cards. So it's the number of players times 2 plus 1. So if me and Rod were playing, we'd put out 7 cards each round. And so at the beginning of the game, you're going to pick it's 5 gods out of this, shuffle all of them together, and then deal them all out. They recommend playing with a certain set to begin with because that's easier. There are some of the families in here that are harder to play with, so they recommend doing that later. They even give you some recipes in here on if you want a game that's real combative, use these guys, and different things. If you want really high scoring, use this one, or real close scoring, use this one. So you mix all those guys up, and then on a turn, you're putting out cards to buy. Now, the cool part about this is that each one of these cards, when you purchase it, they have an ability on that card. And so that ability can do a couple things. It can either be instantly, it could be something that you use throughout the game, it could be something that triggers at the end of the game. Each one of these cards has a different ability. And so you are going to be playing this balance game of buying a card and using its ability up here, but that card doesn't give you any victory points yet. And then figuring out when do I want to transfer this card, because when you transfer the card down, I lose the ability of that card, but now it's in a place where it can score me victory points. So what's cool about that is you're trying to balance, you're trying to say, I love the ability of this card, it gives me a victory point every time I use it, but it's worth, I got to transfer it down here to make victory points. And so you're trying to figure out during the game when you want to lose that ability to start earning victory points. And so the way that you earn victory points in this game, there's a couple ways you could earn victory point tokens throughout the game based off card abilities. You can earn victory points based off turn order cards. And then you earn victory points off of making sets. So there are a couple ways that you can make sets. You can make sets, and I'll try for this not to be confusing, but you can make sets off of 3 cards that are all in the same family, lining them up. They call this a family set. So 1, 2, 3 of a family. Or you can make sets off of levels. So that would be I take a 1 from this one, a 1 from that one, a 1 from that one. And so here they're all different families, but they're all on the same level. So those are all worth victory points. The levels can go up to 5 cards, so basically a card from each family. The family sets can only have 1, 2, 3 because that's all that's in that set. There's only 1, 2, or 3 level cards. So the way that you transfer cards down is at the end of the round, somewhere in the round, you're going to be buying a turn order card that tells you how much money you get and how many transfers that you can make. And so there's a few different cards here. So like if you take turn order number 1, this tells you that you're going to get 2 gold, you can transfer 1 card, and then you get 2 victory points. But if you go on down the line, let's say that you take the 3rd turn order, then you're going to get 5 gold, but you can transfer 2 cards that time. And so it changes. And so during the game, during the round, while you're also buying cards here, you're also trying to buy a turn order, which adds its own strategy in that. But like I said, on a turn, you're going to be able to pay to transfer a card down. You pay the cost that's listed on the top of the card. What level is it? This is a 3. It cost me 3 gold to move this card down. So it's a balancing of how many transfers do I have that turn? How much money do I have? Can I afford to move all those down? And there's some other ways that you can earn victory points. The first person to make certain sets and families gets victory points. The person who has the largest level set can get some victory points, things like that. Yeah, each one of the different cards has an ability on it, or an icon on it. So you have to learn those icons to be able to help you understand what the card text means. And so this is something I do every round, or does this happen instantly and then it's over? Those kinds of things. Once you learn those, I think then you're going to be able to start to build a strategy around it. So
and I think it fits the theme really well because, like they were telling us at Gen Con, that they try to make each of the characters do like cards that are following a certain god, that they do that type of thing. So, so they kept them within the same realm.
Yeah, and so you get rewarded throughout the game by buying cards of the same family a lot, but then that kind of hurts you when you're trying to do those different level sets. And so although you're getting victory points and doing some combos with cards of the same family, maybe you're not earning points as much as you could if you bought all different kinds of cards. So I really like that kind of dynamic in it. So,
and this is a game, for me personally, it's got to have a lot of people in it. I want as many people playing as possible.
Well, the good thing when you play 4 people is that there's a lot of cards out on there, and then it's a lot less likely that you're kind of doing your thing and I'm kind of doing mine.
Right.
We step on each other's toes a little bit more because only 1 yellow 3 came out that round, and you need it and I need it, so turn order really matters then, stuff like that. So.
Yeah.
All right, so at the end of our reviews, we like to give a one die rating. Should you buy it, play it, or hate it? So green means go buy this game and add it to your collection. White means maybe you wouldn't buy it, but you definitely play it. And then red means don't buy it and don't play it because you hate it. So we are going to get our decision and put it out there. Ta-da!
Shocker!
Green and a white. So tell us why you gave it a white.
Okay, kind of bounce back and forth in this game. Like I said, I like Seven Wonders a lot, and that's the aspect of the game I do like a lot. It's funny because with all the cards having their individual abilities and stuff, there's another game, and it's not like it, but just for some reason Magic comes to my head, and that kind of does the same thing. And sometimes the Magic can be kind of confusing on what each card does, but definitely the game's out there. I think it's a very enjoyable game. It's competitive, which I always like. It's social, and so it has all the good aspects to it. And then there's these little things you're trying to do, like you're trying to get your turn order, the one that you want, in certain orders.
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit of this play going on. But so I mean, if it's on the table, I'll definitely be there to play it.
Totally. This game really feels like an engine builder, right? Because you're buying your cards, you're starting to get them produced, and then you're transferring them to get victory points. And I've played a lot of games where it feels like the game ends too soon, right? So you hadn't got things going quick enough for how you wanted them to go. And I remember at Gen Con, we only played 3 of the 5 rounds. This happens over 5 rounds. And I remember at 3 rounds, I was like, if it ended right here, I wouldn't like this game. But it went on 2 more rounds, and I'm thinking, this is perfect. So by the time it ends, you feel like I've accomplished something. My victory points are adding up. The sets are coming into play.
Sure.
I love this game. I just love everything about it. My wife likes it, which is a huge win. And you guys liked it, so
Sure.
that's a win. So I could pull this out in multiple scenarios. And so I highly recommend this game. I think it's one that you ought to buy and add to your collection. So.
All right.
All right, so that's our review of Elysium by Space Cowboys. We got a lot more reviews on our website. Check out BoardGameCloset.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all those. And
Always support your local board game cafe.